Hello everyone, I'm Bradley and welcome to my channel, A Friend Reviews, where I review things, and I was going to draw like a character, like avatar for me, but right now my hands hurt too much for that, so I'm just going to put a picture of an Planet, and I guess just imagine I'm in the pilot seat for that thing. So what am I reviewing today? Reviewing the book F Whales by Maddox. And yes, I know that's not the real title, but YouTube will censor my video if I say the real word in the very start of the video, so just wait a little bit so I can get onto that. Anyways, this review has been a long time coming. I first got the book I think in January, and I kind of wanted to review it then, but I kept putting it off. And now I guess is probably the best time. So, really, I've kind of had this book on a might read thing for a while. It came out in 2017. I guess I always have to be reminded that's 8 years ago. But back when it came out, it was on bookshelves of basically every Barnes & Noble, and I always kind of wondered, well, if it's everywhere, and it's got a interesting title and a usually good cover art, well, it's gotta have something to it. But at that time, I wasn't old enough to actually read it, so when I came across this for sale in the bookstore, I figured, yeah, let's give it a go. And immediately upon actually getting the book and looking at it some more, I realized some things. So the first cover of the book, Fuck Whales, also family poetry, folksy wisdom, and you, petty essay from a brilliant mind by Maddox. Now let's go to the back. The back starts out with fuck back cover copy. Here's a little secret about back cover copy. Nobody cares. What do you hope to discover here that you won't get if you flip the book open and started reading? You think after years of working on a manuscript, investing as full of genius into the book itself, the offer of hell with a couple of gems of brilliant for the back cover? Pro tip, he didn't. It's all inside. And here's the thing, that's not actually true. Because if you look just down from that big of text on my copy, it's got a profile of the author, Maddox. And if you don't know, Maddox is a somewhat, or at least I say he is since he's still blogging, but really more was a really well-known internet personality. He basically started really early, in 1997, and for a long while he was, I guess, kind of a really leading name there. And his book kind of part of the big blogger to humor book trend. And I'm gonna be real here. I guess humor is one of those things where a lot of it is a matter of opinion, so plenty of people are going to disagree with me, but I did not find this book very funny at all, and quite frankly, I think it only really got to be popular enough to where it was in every Barnes & Noble, really because of Maddox having a lot of name recognition. And so, let's why don't we start going over that, shall we? Let's first start off with what you're getting with this book. First, we can just look at the Kyle Cons page. Fuck Whales, page 1. Fuck Tables, page 9. Fuck Horses, page 14. Fuck Trees, page 23. Fuck Families, page 29. Fuck Cupcakes, page 33. Yeah, you kind of get the gist for the scene. For the chapter naming scheme pretty quick. So, you can probably expect you can probably expect how each one is. Each one is basically Maddox giving an opinion on his opinion on something and a bunch of arguments as for why you should agree with him. Sounds simple enough. Now, you might wonder, what exactly does Maddox have against whales? And the real answer is nothing. He clearly has nothing actually against whales seriously. He does seem to find the save the whales from being annoying, but he does not actually hate whales. And that's kind of like something that really is a big problem for the book. Really tell there's like I wouldn't say that there's basically two sides to like the book. There's subjects on which Maddox is actually giving his sincere opinion, and parts where he is just very clearly just making an argument just to make an argument, like saying something just to be against something so that he can have a funny chapter argument thing. And it's not like a straight dichotomy. A lot of the chapters are a little bit of both, but it's very, very clear, and quite frankly, he's not very funny in his way of doing it. Like, if we go to like the FO chapter, the arguments he makes are whales suck at everything, including death. Whales are drinking all our water and eating our sailors. And whales are lazy out of unearned reputation. And that's it. So he says, so obviously Maddox isn't stupid. He doesn't think whales are drinking all the water in the ocean, and he clearly knows that they aren't actually going around gobbling up sailors. That like specific point here has an email conversation between someone who took the blog too seriously and was just like and he was just getting in a very funny, deliberately pointless argument, but really, it gets less. But here's the thing: it just feels a lot, and I get why that's funny. It's funny to like say something nonsensical and get an argument to it, but I feel like a lot because that's kind of how the internet works. But it's really clear that a lot of that sense just doesn't really seem to translate very well at all into like a work of fiction. I mean, or like just like a work of writing, one where it's not that's not a work that's not actually made as like an active conversation between you and the writer. And really, for almost all the time where he's making like these absurd, a lot of the arguing for argument points, like where he's like arguing that trees are bad and we should get rid of all of them, he of course it honestly comes off as just boring because the way these arguments are, he's not even actually being funny about it. Like, let's just read for like the stuff he said for trees. Oh yeah, so let's go for the trees here. Let's say, nothing good comes from trees except food, but there aren't enough food-bearing trees to matter. There is only 10,000 tree species in the world, blah 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 blah. There's not much of great food, yeah. And if the same ratio of humans were productive, we'd all have died centuries ago and you wouldn't be reading this book. Trees are freelers and their roots literally leads nutrients to the planet. When you kill a tree, you're returning stolen elements back to Earth. Trees are nature's hoarders. And again, it's almost kind of like a little, and it's obviously an incoherent argument. Like, yeah, how are we supposed to lead elements, nutrients from Earth, but you can't use them with those nutrients from Earth? What are you going to do? Eat the dirt? And I know it's obviously not supposed to be taken seriously, but I just don't feel. All these arguments just don't. He's making almost sound. Don't actually seem very funny. Like, it just seems like a bad argument, and it's just not that. If I just wanted to read that, I just go on Twitter. I just go on YouTube comments. I just go anywhere that like bad arguments are like thrown around. It's not really that, and what's the fun of seeing those sort of things on the internet that you'll see people engaging with it seriously or non-seriously. It's just really boring when it's a whole book of things that's just one guy ranting. And really but to be clear, it's not all of this just being him. It is not. It's him just ranting at a thing because he's like wanting to fill space in his book. That's not the whole thing. There's plenty of things where he is actually giving his serious opinions, and as you can really expect for like this kind of thing here, there is like no actual there isn't really a explicit textual distinction at any point between when he's saying stuff like F whales and F a very specific opinion that I do not like and will argue against with very specific arguments. He'll even do stuff like where he's like citing sources. I'm sorry, it's just not that funny. It just gets boring. And I guess some of the things and really it almost feels like and here's the thing, some of the things he says almost feel like agreeable, and I can kinda get, and yeah, I guess it almost comes off as like, not like, even if it's not necessarily something I can agree with all the time, it feels like something I can kind of respect him for like saying it, and it's funny for him to just like say it this way, but it almost, honestly, I would have preferred the book had more of that. It shouldn't have been, like, the title shouldn't have been F fuck whales, it should have been fuck cupcakes, because that's like the first article, essay in the book where he's like very clearly 100% sincere about what he's saying, and that he doesn't like cupcakes at all. And honestly, I almost kind of agreed with him. Yeah, but yeah. And just to make a comparison, let's look at the different books that I'm going to be reviewing next. This book, another book I'd like to go for next, is called The Field Guide to Dumb Birds of North America by Matt Fratz. I think I'm saying that correctly. And the book is structured kind of like a general like bird watching guide, except that it is written from an exaggerated point of view of someone who hates birds and hates everything about birds. And so each of the essays is essentially written in a very insulting tone towards the bird. And it gets pretty funny. Like, pick a random page. Okay, this one is good. The Rufous hummingbird, common name, Rufous hummingbird. I've heard them described as the feistiest of all hummingbirds, I guess. These tiny assholes have a chip on their shoulder and will aggressively chase away other hummingbirds. Tip: they may take up residence in your garden if you put up a feeder, so don't. And let's look at another one. Sit-headed cowbird. Common name, brown-headed cowbird. These sit-heads are the worst. They lay eggs like it's going out of style. Seriously, like one all day, all summer long. The female finds a nest of some other bird and she throws one of their eggs out of the nest. That's fucked up. Then she lays one of her own in his face and flies off laughing. Another random one. Common Goon. Common name. Common Loon. They stick out like dumbasses. In the summertime, you might just see a bunch of these big black and white fist lovers just floating around in the middle of the lake. It's like a car full of guys in tuxedos slowly cruising around a strip mall parking lot after hours. Suspicious. Note. Creepy red eyes. So just from that, you can kind of get what the tone of the book is, and there are a bunch of very obvious distinguishing things that, at least in my opinion, make the Field Guide to Dumb Birds much funnier. And the other one is, it's not phrased as like an essay. Like, we don't need a whole argument as to why the author doesn't like how birds sound and thinks birds are dumb. He just says, like, these are the ones that just phrased with reasons that are not necessarily ones that you're going to agree with, but they're ones that make sense. And it's like, doesn't like birds because birds act stupid. Birds poop a lot. Birds make sounds that he finds annoying. Yeah, and it is, and I think it's a little funny. Yeah, it just doesn't. And with Maddox and stuff, it just doesn't feel that way. With him, it only feels funny when, I guess, it feels the most funny when he's like actually he's saying stuff he sincerely believes, but also it's not that funny then, because a lot of it actually just feels like so much of it feels like it's actually trying to make an argument. Like, bro, I do not need your fucking cited sources. Did you seriously put, seriously, why do you put a footnote to a works cited page in this book? Who the fuck is going to look through this? Who the fuck is actually going to read an argument in this book and think, I wonder if the Maddox book's arguments are backed up by information. I'm gonna go look. I better look up and see if they work side things. Like, dude, this isn't like high school. No, there's no teacher gonna fucking ding you if you don't have your sources. And yeah, I mean, there are definitely some funny, and yeah, the book isn't, and yeah, so I guess there are some good things there. The final chapter was a little bit funny still after all of it, but yeah, it's just really not that much. But honestly, it's just not. I was just really disappointed. Figured if you were seeing this thing everywhere, that would be good. But honestly, that was only the. I honestly, now that I'm actually just saying that aloud, that was only something that actually would have made sense to think when I was too young to even actually read the book. So yeah, that's summary review of Fuck Whale by Maddox. Don't find it really funny. Probably best to get something else. And I hope you liked my review. I'm going to be gonna be making more of them. Gonna try and probably improve production value for them somewhat. But this was something to do because, well, so that I'm not stretching my fingers so much when I don't need to. Have a nice day.